Huntington Beach on America's southwestern Pacific coast. It's the world's center of surfing. But threats to California's coastline present new challenges to surfers, and they're developing their own unique response to sustaining the ocean. It was here in the 1950s that a champion swimmer, Duke Kahanamoku, began popularizing the tradition from his native Hawaii of riding the waves on a board. Within a few years, by the mid-1960s, Huntington Beach had become the epicenter of a new craze. It swept the whole of California's 1,000-mile coast and then took the rest of the world by storm. Today, 40 years later, Huntington Beach is still the world's center of surfing. But new challenges are threatening California's surfers. Offshore oil drilling, polluted beaches, and waste running into the sea present serious environmental and health problems. In 1984, Californian surfers started a campaigning organization called the Surfrider Foundation.
We were founded in 1984, just up the coast here in Malibu, California, by a small handful of kind of visionary surfers who were really concerned about threats to their particular surf break. Almost 25 years later, we have 60,000 activists and volunteers across the United States and 80 chapters across the world.
We're a nonprofit environmental organization, and our mission is that we're dedicated to the protection and enjoyment of the world's oceans, waves, and beaches for everyone. We hold things like beach cleanups because it's easy. You show up and within a couple of hours you've contributed to one of the many problems facing our coastline. So we try to do the best we can to make sure people understand that they can contribute to the problem, but they can also help solve the problem as well.
I started surfing when I was about 10. Kind of come whenever I can. It's a fun thing to do. It takes your mind off things, and it's good to give back every now and then by cleaning up the beach.
I'm very passionate about conserving the environment and renewable resources and all that we need to do to help the earth.
People want to come here and like have fun and stuff, but
they can't
because they hear it's too dirty.
If everyone just grabs a friend or a family member and just join in, and it could do a lot of contribution.
This is kind of my surf break, and I have to walk through and see all the trash whenever I come out to surf, so I wanted to help out with clean that up a bit.
One of the main problems is plastics.
If you look at this beach just quickly on the surface, it looks beautiful. It's sparkling water, sunny, sand, it looks like a great day. But when I stepped down and looked just by my feet, there's a very small piece of plastic.
Plastics can last anywhere from 20 to 1,000 years. Due to the litter stream and the nature of plastic bags, you can see the breeze is going straight towards the ocean, so a lot of plastics end up in the ocean where they don't biodegrade, they don't break down, they obviously can't be recycled.
What a lot of people don't realize with tiny pieces of plastic that's in the ocean ecosystem, it becomes part of the food chain. The birds and sea life can't discriminate between the fish eggs and this piece of plastic, so they consume it. And in the case of some birds, they ingest so much plastic, in fact, that they think that they're full and they stop eating and starve to death.
The Surfrider Foundation doesn't just organize beach cleanups, however. It has been surprisingly successful at lobbying and getting the state to pass anti-pollution laws.
Last year, we passed a ban on nurdles, which are the tiny little particles that are basically the foundation for anything plastic. And this year, we're looking to impose a fee on plastic bag usage and have basically get people in the habit of bringing reusable bags like this one that I just got in Hawaii, and then bringing, reusable bottles like this SIG bottle to reduce your use of one-time plastics, because really a lot of plastic doesn't even get recycled, even if you think it does.
The other major problem for the Surfrider Foundation is the way human activity pollutes the waters of the ocean.
What happens is that as homes and other structures, freeways, parking lots go in, it hardens the area, so all the rainfall comes down, and instead of soaking into the ground like it normally would, it pools up, runs into the gutters, and then ends up into these creeks like what's running behind me, and then flows out into the ocean. And as it flows out into the ocean, it carries along pesticides, metals, other toxins, as well as bacteria. And it's those bacteria that primarily pose a risk to bathers. So much so that there's a sign behind me that warns visitors not to swim in the ocean area immediately adjacent to the creek outlet. And those are the kind of things that can give people eye, ear, nose, and throat infections, gastrointestinal diseases.
I've got hepatitis A from the ocean around here, and obviously that's something that's a concern to me. Anytime I go surfing and I'm sick because of it, it makes me want to do something about it.
One of the great things about being a grassroots organization is that a single person can make a big difference.
I do what I do to make sure that the next generation of surfers have the same opportunities that I did as a kid growing up. I think as long as we have, nonprofits like the Surfrider Foundation and Save the Waves and people who honestly care about our environment and are willing to get up and speak out, I think it's only the very beginning of people giving back and doing something about it.
Hollywood, California, the home of the movies. Universal is one of the oldest and biggest film studios in the world.
It's King Kong! Run for your lives!
Almost from the birth of movies, Universal opened its doors to the public.
Universal was actually founded in 1915. We were one of the first movie studios to open up on the West Coast, and they let the public come and watch filming because the films were silent. But when the sound era came in, they shut the studio gates, and we didn't open them again until 1964 when we inaugurated the studio tour, and we've been taking the public to see behind-the-scenes magic of Hollywood ever since.
The tram ride takes visitors to see some of the large props used in the movies and moves them through some of the actual film sets. We don't normally think of an entertainment complex as being particularly green, but Universal has adopted a conscious policy of taking initiatives on the environmental front.
Here at Universal Studios Hollywood, because we have so many millions of people coming through here every year, and we really do have such a huge impact on the environment, we have a special sense of responsibility for finding ways in which we can conserve energy, reduce our carbon footprint, and have less impact on the consequences of our operation.
So Universal has changed the engines on its trams to reduce and monitor pollution.
We've replaced our tram engines with low sulfur burning diesel engines, which gave us a tremendous savings in terms of emission and fuel consumption.
Each bus at fully loaded would carry about 174 guests. During the summer, those buses are loaded all day long and they run for about 12 hours.
There's over 1 million pounds of debris on both sides of the trail.
It brings our guests into the Hollywood experience. It takes them into buildings, through rivers, lakes, floods, earthquakes every day.
Everybody better hold on tight, because here it comes. Stop in time, everybody look out.
If you take the old classic diesel truck with black smoke billowing at the top, and for years we all accepted that. It's no longer acceptable to have those kind of things in our environment. We've upgraded the trams to the most environmentally clean diesel engine available on the market today. It burns all of the product inside of it, and it cleans the environment that way. Computers run everything on this motor. Our lead mechanics no longer walk around with tools and wrenches. They walk around with laptops, and they're able to dial in and to see every process that this engine has on it, and it gives it a readout every day of its performance. And so we're able to look at every single item on that vehicle, whether it's greenhouse gases, or its fuel savings, we're able to set every day. We gained over 65% fuel economy, and we gained over a 50% decrease in greenhouse gas emissions.
At Universal, visitors can enjoy another kind of ride as well, either on a roller coaster or on a motion base, which throws them around. Most of the rides are based on popular Hollywood movies.
On The Mummy, I started working with Stephen Sommers, the director of the film, before the film was even going into production, and we started right away just trying to think of what aspects of this movie will translate to a ride experience.
Serve me and savor riches beyond measure. Or refuse and savor a more bitter treasure. Revenge of the Mummy, the ride.
Our newest ride is called the Simpsons ride, and it's something we've been working on for quite a little bit of time now.
We're going to take our guests to Krusty Land. Krusty the Clown is, of course, built an amusement park, and, you know, being Krusty, he hasn't built it too good. So you get to ride with the Simpsons family through Krusty's amusement park, which is going to be hysterical.
Ah, my next victim.
And now Universal is introducing green initiatives even on rides like this.
They will employ some really cutting-edge technology in an effort to reduce its carbon footprint from predecessor rides and really try some new things in an effort to have as little impact as possible on the environment. Some of the things that we're doing with it are very, very simple things, like instead of using conventional lighting, we're installing more LED lights in one place than have ever been done, thousands of LED lights, which have very, very low energy consumption, and that will be the main lighting feature for the ride.
We've included special effects on this piece, and we're on a motion base.
And even the motion base incorporates a green initiative.
Another thing we're doing, which is very cutting edge as well, has never been tried before, is variable speed motors, which can sense the number of riders that will actually be riding this ride, and will be taking advantage of periods of low usage versus high usage, and uses energy very smartly and efficiently in accordance with that. To give you an example, a predecessor ride that had a similar ride system used 82,000 watts per hour. The Simpsons ride will use 27,000 watts at its peak, which is obviously less than half other rides of its type. For us, it's really a beginning, because what happens is that when you begin to take into consideration green thinking, environmental responsibility, and the way you do your business, you find more ways of doing it, and it becomes a snowball kind of thing. And you just have to build it into your consciousness and build it into your business plan.
I think you'll find that every ride and attraction we install from now forward will be including more and more green technology. It makes sense. It's the right thing to do.